ठाकुर जी और सब मंचस्थ महानुभाव, धर्मबंधु जी के शास्त्र वचन और काफी समझदारी पूर्वक कही गई बातें सुनने के बाद गुजरात अर्थशास्त्र मंडल के बारे में कुछ बताना ये भी एक अच्छा योग है। गुजरात अर्थशास्त्र मंडल वैसे बहुत ही सद्नसीब है। उसके संचालन में वैसे तो उसका प्रारंभ हुआ था प्रोफेसर रमेश भट्ट के जरिए, जो कि इलाबेन भट्ट के पति थे। सेवा संस्था जो इलाबेन चलाती है उनके पति थे रमेश भट्ट। मगर उसके बाद प्रोफेसर लाकड़ावाला और प्रोफेसर आई.जी. पटेल जैसे महानुभावों के नेतृत्व से यह संस्था काफी अच्छी तरह चली है। मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि वैसे भी हमारे देश में अर्थशास्त्र, समाजशास्त्र और अन्य सामाजिक शास्त्रों के बारे में संशोधन करना और अपने छात्रों को उसके शिक्षण के जरिए तैयार करना एक बड़ी चुनौती है। एक तो चुनौती ये आ रही है हमारे सामने, जो कि अभी कुछ फिगर्स कहे गए मोहन भाई के पुस्तक में से बताए गए, चड्डा जी ने जो लिखे हैं उसमें से, कि हमारे ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो कुछ 12% के आसपास है। सवाल यह है कि कौन हायर एजुकेशन में नहीं जा सकते हैं। काफी अरसे पहले सरदार पटेल इंस्टीट्यूट में उसके बारे में एक अभ्यास हुआ था जिसमें हु गोज टू द कॉलेज, ऐसा सवाल उस पुस्तक का ही रखा गया था नाम।
Born by Alagmanda man and the dignitaries on the dais, friends, I really feel proud and delighted to say something on Dr. I.G. Patel, but I am getting contracted because a person who had been so intimate and close to him is present here and feeling like throwing lily in the water. Anyway, I will try to say something which I have comprehended from his two books, Glimpses and Encounter with Higher Education. Also from Karl Popper's last book, All Life is Problem Solving. Dr. I.G. Patel was an eminent economist and an able administrator from 1950s to 1980s. He saw the country in the capacity of an economist, policy advisor, and international diplomat. His career and relationships with the country's 5 prime ministers and several ministers, economists, bureaucrats remain very cordial and undisputed. And deregulation, but alas, often one has to succumb to circumstances than to one's prediction and conviction. It is your temperament that shape your behavior and destiny. He pointed out that after war, situation compelled countries to build the superstructure of controls, economic management. Nations adopted deliberate restrictions and redistribution. Global economic institutions came up and laid down common rules of national behavior and international cooperation. He has remarkably subsummed his deduction from experiences he had in different positions in the epilogue of glimpses. Quote, economic policy everywhere has seen a sea change, but it would be a mistake to think that we have reached a safe, secure, and well-defined haven in our economic sojourn. I'm afraid the journey will last forever. There never was a golden age and never will be. Man will fret and grind and cry and kill and quarrel and created new problems. They will also soar and dream and hanker after a more harmonious, just and freer set of social, economic and political relations. They become more poetic and philosophical, to my mind. Higher education
Thank you very much. Majmua उपस्थित दोस्तों सबके नाम लेने के लिए सामने बैठे सब. Thank you all for coming, being here, making it a great occasion. Can you hear me? Okay. मोहन भाई में एक खूबी है कि वो बड़े प्यार से फोन करते हैं एंड मौके पे और कहते हैं आपको कुछ बोलना है. और मुझ में एक प्यार है उनके लिए कि मैं बगैर सोचे कह देती हूँ हाँ मैं कह दूंगी बोलूंगी उसमें क्या है. फिर बाद में मैं सोचती हूँ क्या कहूँ. तो उन्होंने मुझे कहा कि मेरे beloved husband डॉक्टर आईजी पटेल के ऊपर मैं कुछ बोलूँ कुछ मेमोरीज. एक तो शेख भाई ने वो भी मेरे छोटे भाई हैं कहा पॉपर के बाद जब हम पहले LSE गए. It was very unusual. I'm going to speak in English, please. It was a bit very unusual because an international civil servant doesn't expect to be invited. He was invited to become the director of the LSE. He had stopped teaching in 1949 and this was 1983. We went in 84. And of course, he was very loved, admired and all that. Popper, Professor Popper by then not only was the great celebrity of 20th century philosophy of science, history of science, but he was LSE, he had been at LSE almost all his life. The affection he gave to my husband was unbelievable. I remember once he came to see IG and they discussed LSE, then Professor Popper just said, he always said, Director, I only want to know one thing. Are you happy? In a man who is on top of the world for 50 years and then he says, no, I've had enough. You know, in fact, but it was not Vanaprastha. He was involved with any number of commissions in India and abroad. So well, that's IG Patel. I mean, we all know this. Whoever came in touch knew that he had. My driver just told me, I think I should tell you because I think it's a very sweet story. Somebody apparently came in Baroda and said to my driver, who's been with us for almost 20 years, this must be 10 years ago, that you driver, how can you stop me from going and all that, something or the other. And apparently Dr. Patel came out and said, "Kone ko baat kara chhe? Driver man na kaho, hamara chokro chhe, bas. Ye jo kahe chhe mani lo." So that was his approach. He is loyal to me. He is part of my family, my household, and I defend him. And I remember when his father was very ill in a hospital in Anand, I think. My husband actually came to Anand to see him. But that's the kind of man he was. He could deal there and he could deal here. And for him, there was no real difference. Everybody was a human being. Now, Mohanbhai wanted me to talk about some memories, and I thought I would tell you about two things. One shows how stupid I am, but it's very interesting. This is 1966. India is in a very bad way, foreign exchange-wise. All those things, aapko yaad bhi nahi hoga. Some of you and most of you were not even born then. But I always say that 91 liberalization didn't happen in one day. We had 1947 to 1991 to fight and somehow manage before suddenly, we think that D-Day is 91, India was born in 91. It was not. There was a lot of struggle, not only IG Patel, there was IG Patel, L.K. Jha, Swaminathan, B.K. Nehru, not to speak of the prime ministers and the ministers. Morarji Desai and all of them, who fought together and let the country flow. Okay? That's how it was brought to a situation where 91 could happen. Anyway, 66 is a disastrous year. So Mrs. Gandhi, who has just become Prime Minister, decides to go, that she wants to go and meet Lyndon Johnson. She's invited, she's going to meet Lyndon Johnson. And then on the way, the plane will stop in Moscow. And at the airport, Mrs. Gandhi will meet Kosygin. Okay? So she sends a message to my husband saying, I want IG to come with me. So my husband says, well, we are expecting our first child. I ain't going anywhere. I'm not coming with the PM. It's very, very warm and very comfort-giving to me, to the family. And if one thing I learned from him, it was that, of course, this is law of life, you know. Wittgenstein had said that death is an event not an event in life. It's true, but it's also a part of end of life. You have to accept it. And somebody like him, who loved life so much, through memorial lectures, through talking about him, through carrying forward the kind of values we gave, we celebrate his life. We don't mourn, we celebrate his life. Thank you.
Dr. Mohan Patel, Dr. Anand Thakur, Srimati Alaknanda Ben Patel, Bhikubai Patel, the member of the Executive of Indian Economic Association, ladies and gentlemen. Well, let me begin with a profound thanks to the Gujarat Economic Association for inviting me here and organizing this as part of the lecture facilitation. I'm indeed very thankful to you and to Anil Thakur and all the members of the Executive Council for the love and affection that you have shown towards me. I have tried to do as a whatever I am required to do as a president of the association in the last 1 year. But more importantly is I feel quite honored for inviting me here to give a IG Patel Memorial Lecture. I must be honest with you that it's okay that as an economist I knew IG Patel, his writing and his contribution, tremendous contribution. But it was sheer treat to listen to Madam, to know the inner side of the person. And this is a different generation. I have been able to, I have the opportunity to work with Lakadwala, Anandwala as a young student and a teacher. Dear Karti and William Carter. I think IG Patel belongs to that generation of people. And they were differently, extremely dedicated people. They combined their scholarship with dedication for the nation, huge commitment. Commercialization had not entered at that time as much as it is today in academics. So they are the people who sacrifice. They did not get as much as they should get if you look at their contribution to the country. So therefore I am very happy to be here to give the IG Memorial Lecture. I have decided, because between the two topics that I was struggling with, I thought given the work of IG Patel on education and my engagement with higher education for the last 5 years, which has come to an end in a formal capacity in February 2011, I should share with you and discuss with you the issue of higher education. Where do we stand, what we have achieved, and what are the challenges before us in shortest possible time. But before I do that, I would like to spend a few minutes on Indian Economic Association. Anil Thakurji has informed you of the importance of this association, how old it is. It is now 6 years away from completing 100 years. It is an association with a galaxy of academics were associated. And when I joined last year, I have tried to do something to the extent possible. Maybe because I am the chairman of UGC, I could give a little more attention. But I realized at that point of time, because I used to deal with colleges and college teachers and the university teacher, and then I realized how important it is that we use Indian Economic Association for various purposes, but to make it more meaningful for the college teachers. If we are able to improve the teaching and the research at that level, provides more facility and benefits to the teacher in economics at college level, make Indian Economic Service more, Indian Economic Association more meaningful to them, it will be better, and that's what we have tried to do. It will be my effort and endeavor in the next 2 years or so, 2.5 years or so, with your support and cooperation to strengthen the Indian Economic Association further and make it more meaningful and useful to its member. These are certain things that I wanted to say about association, and I must say that I was elected as a president of the conference, then president of the association unanimously, and this shows your huge love and affection, and I hope that will continue, and it is on the basis of the strength of that of love and affection I would be able to do with your cooperation. Now let me switch over to the issue of higher education. The issue of higher education is a very important issue, and you will recall, if you think about it, that during the last 4 to 5 years, the issue of higher education has become a subject of great discussion. I have not seen the people from various walks of life talking about higher education. I was told that UGC was a name which was not known to many people except the teachers, but now UGC possibly knows everybody. It has become a household name. And higher education is a subject which is discussed by a various section in the society. You have government, you have teachers and the universities and colleges which discuss higher education, but you must have seen the corporate sector has come in a big way, organizing several conferences in Delhi and elsewhere. You have seen the newspaper people coming and organizing conferences, and you have civil society people coming and organizing conferences around higher education. I don't think this has happened before. So it is this recognition of relevance and importance of higher education, which I think UGC has played a major role to highlight the significance of higher education. And I am quite happy about it. But I think people have also started taking interest in higher education simply because of the problem that it faces, and the challenges that it has posed before us, and the effort that we need to do. It is this I would like to place before you very briefly as to what we have done during last 5 years, 11 plan, and what are the challenges and how we should address them. And I think higher education was one of the areas where I.G. Patel really applied his mind and thinking. When we talk of higher education, we essentially talk of post-higher secondary education. The student who complete 12th standard, when he goes to the college and the post-college, we talks about that section of the higher education. We don't talk about secondary education, or we don't talk about school education. When we talk of higher education, it is post higher secondary education plus 18. If you take a stock, you realize that our situation with respect to higher education is not that satisfactory. When I joined UGC in 2006 as chairman of UGC, and it coincided with the 11th plan, and the University Grant Commission was asked to prepare the strategy and approach for higher education. And to my surprise, when I started working on this literature, I discovered that there is nothing much around. If you want to prepare a report and identify the problem of higher education. I instituted 7 studies immediately and asked our economic faculty particularly to prepare the report. And 7 reports were prepared, and those 7 reports really form the basis for the approach and the strategy for higher education in the 11th plan, which has brought higher education to a high plane. There is a story behind why higher education got such a big push, and I think our Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh has played a very significant role. It so happened that on the eve of the preparation of the 11th plan, the Prime Minister asked the chairman of the UGC through the ministry to make a presentation about the vision of higher education. It never happened before, but it happened on that day. And I, as chairman of UGC, I am fortunate enough to have those studies with me, made a presentation about what are the problems of higher education and how they could be met. And everybody was there. In that presentation, and that literature is available in the UGC and the report, we could identify 4 to 5 major challenges that higher education faced, even today. First thing is the progress that we have made. Somebody who described Chanda's booklet presenting the statistics. If you begin with 1950, indeed we have made a substantial progress. We begin with